What's up, Rangers? Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve, and today in this unimportant review, we got some street sharks, because they're jawsome. Which, funny enough, I don't know if it's just me, but whenever I think jawsome, I watch way too much wrestling. You know The Miz, where his theme song, where he's like, "Aw, yum." I always think of street sharks every single time. It's just like, "Jawsome, I came to play. Got to get down, don't need to play." Just like every time. Also, the problem is now that they have little gimmicks, it just makes me want to do this like the entire review. Which I don't know how annoying that would be. At least not for me. But main reason I picked these up. Growing up, loved Street Sharks, had a few of these guys, the original versions of these action figures when I was younger. Also had the puppets. I adored the puppets. I hope they bring back the puppets so I'm able to get a hold of them and not paying like hundreds of dollars to try to get one. Because it's bad enough like each of these guys are like loose. You're looking, at least you get $60 and up. Loose. Let alone the one thing I would actually really enjoy. Mainly just possibly for video purposes. Then really like the animated series, and again, a lot of my collection is kind of predicated around my love of things from the 90s, and Street Sharks is definitely up there. Kind of be cool if they did Extreme Dinos too at some point. I don't know how, that might be asking too much, but it would be kind of neat to go along with these guys, and they keep like continuing, because I really need a Slamu at some point once they get past like the core figures that they showed off. That would be dope. So, decided to grab them. What the first wave entailed here is we got the Villain Slash, we have Jab and Ripster, the leader. And if you guys want to see the packaging intact, I'll grab one of them real quick. But you can check the live stream we did unboxing all the Street Sharks. Kind of set them aside real quick. But here's the piece of cardboard. This one's for Jab, so it tells you the gimmick. You got the try me. You can actually test the gimmick out on the back here. Shows you with the illustration. Reminds me a lot of the original packaging. You even get the logo on the front here. And then what's kind of cool is they each come with their own little cage. Little plastic cage here, which does have the hook, so you can hang these up. And the one thing I also really liked is because it has the hook, it helps to support the card back here too, so when it's hanging, so this is less likely to get damaged. So for people that are like really minty box collectors, it definitely helps with that regard, which I appreciate too. Granted, I'm opening these guys, but for some people that's a nice little bonus feature. You got the 30th anniversary. And then for each of the cages, they're actually combinable too. I haven't messed with it too much, but you'll see here they're all just kind of like snapped on. You can disassemble these. So if you have a bunch of them, so if you bought the wave, you could have all three. You can actually combine all the cages too. I haven't gone around to it yet because I'll be honest, I don't really got enough shelf space to really probably merit trying to make one giant cage. But I do think that's a neat option, especially for play, because again, these are still meant for children to play with. They're just kind of updated to nowadays standards, having a little bit more posability. It's also really easy to snap back together. And the one thing I like too is if you want to display them still. Granted, it's kind of harder to get them back in here now. I wish they had a bottom so I could use this to hang on the wall if I still wanted the option. I guess if I was going to hang on the wall, you just leave it in the package, right? So it's not, the floor's not needed, but it would have been kind of neat. I guess if you had an extra top, you could put it on the bottom. Oh no, I could probably 3D scan that and make a thing. Nope, we're not doing that. Not doing that. And then what's sweet for each of the figures, also forgot to mention for these videos, that drill was throwing me through. So I'm like, what the hell is that little thing in the corner? But anyways, these videos are unedited. They go up on our Patreon in advance. So if you guys would like to keep up to date with these videos and donate, greatly would appreciate it. There's also Discord attached to our Patreon too. But for each of these guys, they come with their own gimmicks. So for Jab here, when you move his arm, his head, eyes shoot forward for jabbing action. You can also see there's a little bit of a spinal column on the inside there. Nice little detail added to that. Also, let's just say that part kind of adjusts forward. Sometimes gets stuck, but for the most part, it works pretty well. And then also for the fin here, you get the, already demonstrated earlier, but you get the biting action, which his gimmick, when you do it, it shifts the lower jaw. While with Ripster here, it actually shifts the upper jaw back. For him, to get his biting action, everything's made out of soft rubber, which is kind of cool and weird at the same time, but it's like the original figures, where this is nice and squishy. Same with him, in order for the jaws to be flexible. I worry about that over time, but then again with the original figures, I don't think I've ever really seen the rubber ripped on like any loose ones. There might be some like discoloration because of that. Like he's already got a little nick on the top of his head there. So it's easy to like damage and scuff the paint. So do be wary of that when you're displaying them and bumping them together. But his other gimmick is the waist here is spring-loaded. So he does his punching action like it did on the original figure, which I think is really sweet. Kind of hinders the posability a little bit because you can't really properly rotate the guy for like toy photography, or if you like to be a little bit more creative with your displays. Kind of the same thing for Jab here too, because of the gimmick. This arm is pretty much null and void outside of just being able to bend it at the elbow. But I think it's still cool enough to kind of like sacrifice the articulation a little bit just to have the original gimmicks come along with these guys. Because the one thing I always really love about when they do these kind of reissues, in a way, like reimagining, is that these are cool, but they don't just completely negates the original figures. Kind of like Playmates has a big problem with that, where they'll like re-release the original figure like it was back then, which is sweet for people that maybe want to relive their childhood and get them at a much more affordable price. But then for the people that wanted those figures because of their childhood and spend a bunch of money on it, yeah, it's almost a bit of a feel bad. And then it kind of hurts that market a little bit, because there's definitely a lot of people that are more willing to be like, oh yeah, you know what, like $12-15 is way better than like $100. So, yoink. Like me, for instance, because I'm not fond of it. I'm more fond of the figure than I am of the packaging. But it's great. I remember opening these things up for Christmas and birthdays and whatnot. So the package was always brings back a little bit of memories. But it having like a little Nickelodeon sticker on the bottom or whatever is not a big enough deterrent for me to not want to buy them. And I love these because, again, if I see the old Street Sharks, I kind of feel like I need them because, again, they're from my childhood. While these give me that same kind of feeling, but also introduce new things. So always really dig these. Same with like Playmates has like the new Turtles that are like reimaginings too. Like I love those, and definitely would much more highly invest in those. But forgetting about Slash here, his gimmick, got the little button here. You do have to attach the horn from the package. It's pretty easy to do. You just pop it in. So it's got a hexagon shape. You just follow it in. But move it up and down, and his drill spins, which works really good. Like, you can get that thing freaking going. And then it's pretty much it for him. For the most part, the detail-wise, they're very similar to the original figures, like I mentioned. But the paint apps on these guys are really, really cool. Where you can even see here on Slash, it's got the purple on the top here. It almost looks like it kind of color shifts a little bit, depending on the way the light hits it. And then you got the green for the arms. It's oddly enough, it's metallic on the body. But the rest of the figure, I guess that's metallic. I think it's painted the plastic, so it's definitely got more of a shine on the body here than it does on the limbs, but it's definitely got that little bit of a shine to it. Outfit looks really good. I like the paint separation. Got the fins here along. Like, they're painted really, really nicely. Same with the eyes. Look really good. Love the Piranha logo on the shoulders. So you've got the detailing on the feet there. You can see the swirling. Oh, yeah, you can definitely see the metallic on the bottom of the foot there. Looks really good. His hands are gigantic and look ready to grab up unsuspecting victims. And then for the posability, each of them are pretty much the same, so I'm not going to go over every single one of them. But you generally get arms are on a hinge, so they go up and down. You can rotate them all the way around. You get a single elbow bend, so they each can move in and out. The hands can rotate in or on hinges. You can also rotate the elbows a little bit, depending on which one moves a little bit better. You get rotation at the waist. Legs go forward, back, single jointed knee, but get quite a bit of posability on there. A little bit of rotation at the top of the leg, and the feet can go side to side. Not too much of a forward and back. You can see the hinge there, but there's not a ton of room on this. This foot wiggles a little bit better. Same with like Ripster. You get a lot of forward and back. The one thing I notice is sometimes the joint on the leg likes to stick. Like, it feels like where the connecting piece is, it's definitely got a lot of give. So I would be maybe a little bit wary of, because I can feel it here. Like, he goes forward pretty well, but going back, it feels really tight. And I kind of worry about maybe damaging the plastic there. So that's a bit of a concern. The Street Sharks, you get a way better bend or rotation at the elbows. Just because of the design, it's much more flat along the bicep there than it is along him, which is a little bit more craggly. And then nothing at the head on any of them. But with the Street Sharks, you'll see Ripster as both clenching fists, but does have a slot for gripping something. So I wonder if maybe eventually we'll get something to for them to hold on to. Maybe like some of the other ones may come with more accessories, maybe like poles or what have you. But his detail looks really good. Super ripped, super jacked. I love the little extra detailing along the mouth there. Teeth are nicely painted. Even the back of the teeth have paint on them, which I could have seen skipping out. A nice pinkish red for the mouth. Eyes look really good. You got that extra shine. God, he is so veiny. All the time. Then you got his nice pants. A little bit of rip at the bottom. You got the slash on the belt buckle. Like I said, painted really well. And this is kind of the opposite of him, where you got like the rubber with a bit of the metallic in it, and then the arms and the fin got a little bit more of a shine to it than the rest of the body does. Which doesn't look too bad. I think it's mainly because I have all the studio lighting on here. Well, sitting here messing with them initially, I didn't really notice it too much. Now that you have all the lights on it, definitely you can see a bit more of the color separation. And then for jab, he actually comes with an open hand and a clenched fist, but this one's actually fully clenched, so you won't be able to have him grip anything. But just like the rest of them, painted very nicely. Eyes look really good. Teeth, painted very well. Like I said, I'm pretty impressed that even like the back of the teeth on all these are painted, which I imagine this probably was a pain in the butt to try to paint. Probably did it all separately and then slid it over top. And then he has the blue, more camouflage style pants with the knees. Got the rips in them. And the boots on the back. And some copyright information. Oh, 2023 copyrights. I've been working on these guys for a little bit. Well, granted, I was to say, no, it was like early this year we found out that they were going to be available. I guess they're working out last year. Weird. I think I had the copyright information for this year. Whoops, battery died. But anyways, I definitely recommend these guys. I think they're super sweet. Love the posability. Paint jobs on them are really nice. Only thing that's kind of sketchy is, like the original figures, if you're playing around with them, they get painted up against stuff. It can scuff the paint on these guys pretty easily, especially on the rubber. So do be wary of that. For the most part, I kind of recommend keeping these guys in the package. Unless you really love playing with your stuff. Because I do like the gimmick. But collecting purposes, while being updated posability, with them having the gimmicks, they're not quite like best to pose on shelves. And I love the way the box is and being able to hang on the wall and it not being able to be damaged. You can still kind of mess with them a little bit in there. But for kids, these things are sweet. Like I said, remind me a lot of my childhood. Well, giving definitely a lot more play than what you used to be able to get with these guys. So, yeah, nothing really too negative to say. Then, like, the joints get a little stuck. Especially on this guy on his leg here, but still really good. Highly recommend at the price. If you guys like to pick up streak sharks for yourself, link in the description for Entertainment Earth. Help support the channel. Get yourself some Jawsome collectibles. Jawsome. And help us defeat those kaijus by... Hold up, we can do this. Hitting that like button. Subscribe, become a Ranger today. We also got Instagram, Patreon, TikTok, Facebook. Guys, like people the day with channel donate. Greatly would appreciate it. And see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.